All right, so अभी तक का जो हाल है, first session is over, but एक unfortunate incident which just happened was Hugh Edmedes, who is the auctioneer. He just collapsed जब auction हो रही थी, and rest of the news is still unknown कि उन्हें क्या हुआ है, but we wish
अभी
कि
तक का जो हाल है
जल्दी
फर्स्ट
जल्दी
सेशन
ठीक हो जाए
ओवर
and the
एक
auction resumes
unfortunate
soon.
incident which just happened was Hugh Edmedes, who is the auctioneer. He just collapsed जब auction हो रही थी, and rest of the news is still unknown कि उन्हें क्या हुआ है, but अभी तक का जो हाल है फर्स्ट सेशन
Okay, guys. The first session is over, or with a very unfortunate incident. आपको पता चल ही गया होगा Hugh Edmedes, who is the auctioneer, who just collapsed, and very unfortunate to hear. But we wish him a speedy recovery, and वो जल्द जल्द वापस आए and auction शुरू हो. फिलहाल तकरीबन 1 घंटे से 90 मिनट का ब्रेक है, और the show must go on with the same. हम चाहते हैं कि वो जल्द जल्द रिकवर करें, और because he is a legend, and पिछले 4 सालों से वो हमारे इस IPL का ऑक्शन करते आ रहे हैं, and we would want him to continue. चलिए जी, continuing with our session. अभी तक का क्या हाल रहा है, what has happened till now, but before that, this is RJ Rahul Markin from Fever FM, and दिल्ली का दिल क्या चाहता है मेगा ऑक्शन 2022. अभी we have some panelists from all across the world. Let me introduce you to them. Number one, we have Mr. Sid Deshmukh, who is the CEO of Sports C Says. We have Kushagra, who is a cricket analyst. We have Mr. Nikhil, who is a commentator from Barbados. We have Anthony, who does this podcast named E-Sky Podcast from Australia. We have Dhaval from Couch Pundit Sports, and we have Sumaid, who runs his own podcast named India Cricket Podcast. So welcome to all the panelists, and this session is really, really going to be interesting. A lot of surprise and smart buys in the first session. We'll definitely talk about them. But before that, a quick recap of a few players. Our ex-DC Shikhar Dhawan has been sold for 8.25 crores to Punjab. Again, our ex-DC Ashwin has been sold to Royals for 5 crores. Rabada has been sold for 9.25 crores to Punjab. Again, our ex-DC. Again, another ex-DC, Shreyas Iyer, has been sold for a whopping 12.25 crores to KKR. Shimran Hetmeyer, again our ex-DC, has been sold to Royals for 8.50. Harshal Patel has been bought back into into RCB for a good amount of 10.75 crores, and Hasaranga was in due process of getting a huge amount. He has already crossed 10 crores, but his fate is still yet to be decided which country, which team he'll be playing for. But let's go first to all our panelists. First, Sid. Hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Super, super, perfect. So you've watched the first session. What will be your top two buys of this first session? Top two buys.
The best part is everybody from the DC has been a top buyer for other teams.
Actually.
So that's a phenomenal start. Honestly speaking, wish we had got some of them back in the team, but nevertheless, I think it is what it is. But it's somebody that personally I feel that other teams are looking at something else. So Shreyas was a good something. Not coming back because looking at Pant being captain and holding it properly. So I think the first top five looking good with Warner coming in, getting stability at top with Shaw. I think that's a good lineup. But I personally feel that we should have gone for Huda or Rana in the first round to get the Indian all-rounder category of spinner, who are the cheeky guys in between. But so far so good. I think it's a good overall good balance. I think going for Warner only is a little setback while we let go so many other players. But I think I'm still looking forward to the next session and coming up. I think it's and something I personally feel is, I don't know, again it's a old thing. But my Raina might get a stability in the lower Indian water, lower down with his all the records, with the young team, the young core of DC. I think the Raina might be a good pick coming up. He's gone unsold, so he still come back.
A lot of surprises today. Raina got unsold, Smith got unsold, but we are hoping that in the next round we might get some buyers for them. कुशाग्र आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा, अभी तक दिल्ली कैपिटल्स का सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक ही प्लेयर खरीदा है हमने और वो है डेविड वॉर्नर. सो उनके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
I mean, this feels like we're back in 2009 or something like that, and David Warner is back, and it's just fantastic. You've seen him perform now recently in the Ashes as well, and otherwise as well in the T20 World Cup as well. Clearly, the man's found his form back. It was an unfortunate way to leave SRH the way he left SRH, because you can see from his own social media profiles how much he loved the team and how much the fans loved him. And it's going to be a similar case here in Delhi as well. Just the thought of Warner, Shaw and Pant as three of your top four just makes your mouth salivate, right? I mean, the kind of hitting that we are going to see from these guys is going to be fantastic. And I'm just excited as a Delhi fan that David Warner is back. And I think, dare I say, it is a bit of an upgrade on Shikhar Dhawan, in terms of getting an opening batter in. And Warner, who has a point to prove, is the most dangerous David Warner there is. So I'm just hoping that he comes in, scores a couple of tons in the season, and we get a 700-run season again.
Great. Okay, coming to our West Indian connection, we have Nikhil, who is a commentator from Barbados, and oh my God, West Indian players are totally dominating this IPL auction. Two of them, they have one is Hitmire, 8.50 crores to Royals, and Jason Holder, 8.75 crores to Lucknow Super Giants, and a lot to come. So, Nikhil, what do you have to say?
Well, Rahul, I think obviously it goes without saying how interesting those two first picks have been from West Indies' perspective. I mean, every year we've always pushed out the talent, the IPL teams have liked to foster, and obviously it helps having this India series ahead of time. I think there's tons of more names that we'll get into later on as to who's to come. But in terms of at first, Hetmyer, I'm really disappointed that Delhi weren't able to bring him back. I think he just fits so well, batting next to Pant, and obviously I think he would have fit in really well with the likes of Shaw, Warner, etc. And I think it shows how much IPL franchises are valuing that hitting ability, having the highest strike rate of 168 in the last year's edition, his ability to play spin as well. I think those were so critical, and that's why we had that big bidding war. I think he's personally definitely worth the money. 25 years old, a lot of time, left in his career, and I think teams will be building much more long term now So I think it was really good business by the Royals to pick him up, and obviously very disappointed that Delhi couldn't get him. But in terms of the second West Indian player, well, Jason Holder, I mean, we all just saw what he did against England. We know what he did for Sunrisers at the back end of the IPL last year in the UAE. I think it was 18 wickets in 14 matches, the ability to go to the Yorker and the death. So no real surprise for me. I'm very happy for these West Indian guys that they can actually cross that, 1 million US threshold. And I think there's so many other names that teams like Delhi and other teams who haven't done much in the auction thus far are going to be looking into. So exciting times, even at 4 a.m. for West Indian fans, man.
Super. We have Anthony from East Sky Sport Podcast, Australia. So David Warner for whopping 6.25 crores sold to Delhi, the only player in our first session which Delhi has bought. And of course, Pat Cummins, 7.25 crores to KKR. So your comments, Anthony.
Yeah, Pat Cummins has taken a little bit of a pay cut, but that's okay. We like to retain third player. And nice to see David Warner coming back to Delhi. Obviously, a lot was made about his exit from Sunrisers Hyderabad last year. Possibly, not on the best terms, but it's nice to see David Warner get picked up early in the auction and come to the Delhi Capitals. It'll give us another reason down under to cheer for Delhi, and wishing Davey Warner all the best, returning to Delhi.
Wonderful. Coming to you, Dhaval, from Couch Pundit Sports. Which side, in the first session, if we talk about the first session, which side has done the best buying so far?
I think Delhi has been pretty good getting David Warner for as cheap as they did. Definitely, but I find it easier to say that getting Jason Holder for 8.5 was a steal. I was expecting Jason Holder to go for a much higher amount. So I think when they got Jason Holder, that was a pretty good buy for them.
Great. All right. Coming over to Sumedh from Indian Cricket Podcast. So Sumedh, which teams do you think they have their captains settled now?
Before we get to that, right, just from a Delhi perspective, imagine if the auction didn't exist and it was an open trading market, then the appreciation value on the players that you've let go would have resulted in a lot of money coming into Delhi Capitals, right? True. Can you imagine the amount of money they would have made if the auction wasn't there and it was an open market with Shreyas and everybody going for big bucks? Absolutely incredible. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's a model that I think is in the future. You might go to an, European football sort of a model where the auction system ceases to exist. But, the auction has its own charm as we see it at this moment. So I definitely think, coming back to your question, no brainer that sort of Kolkata already have Shreyas and he, will go on to become their poster boy. But I think Punjab also have found their captain in Shikhar Dhawan. And it'll be very interesting, right? The North Indian derby now between Delhi and Punjab is going to feature two Delhi folks playing for Punjab. So it's like somebody from Liverpool going to Everton and playing for Everton. It's going to be that bad. So let's see how it goes and how you folks take it at the Kotla.
What do you say about KKR? Will Shreyas Iyer play maybe a captain's role in KKR, or do you have some other opinion?
Oh no, for sure. You found your captain in Shreyas, and you saw the intent, right? Kolkata really wanted him. They waited and saw around what's happening in the auction room. They let everybody go in for him early because they didn't want to show that they are super eager to have him, right? That's very important. And in that bargain, right, they waited and they pounced in at the right time, and I think they've saved 4 crore easily. Shreyas Iyer was meant to go for 16 CR plus, and the fact that they've held him on for 12.25, is it? Yeah, is huge, absolutely huge. But just on Kolkata now, they've spent 7.25, 12.25, and 8. And they don't have a lot of money. So, I think they might be just in there to have some coffee at the ITC and sit back, watch everyone else shop.
And for RCB, if there is a confusion between, say, Faf du Plessis and Maxwell, whom do you think should captain the side?
Anthony's not going to like my answer because I know Maxi's captained the Melbourne Stars. But I think Faf is a leader. He's led South Africa for a while, and I think a certain AB de Villiers has put in a quiet word in and said, "Listen, he's your guy. Get him in. He's unassuming. He'll go out there and play for the name on front of the jersey, not the back, so that the others can do the opposite." And that's exactly what you need at Bangalore now: a counterbalance to Virat Kohli and Maxwell. So I think Faf probably will go on to lead Bangalore, but you never know. They're full of surprises.
Great. So we'll talk now about some individual players and the prices they have been sold. Some of them like real surprises for us. Some of them we think that okay, yes, there has been some pay cut. Coming to you, Sid Deshmukh. Talking about Ashwin, going to Royals for a 5 crore. What do you have to say?
Honestly speaking, I think Ashwin is a great buy for Rajasthan, considering Sanju is going to be the captain, so he needs the backup for all the tactical mind. Ashwin brings the tacticality in the game. He's a very cheeky and smart cricketer. So and he still has a few years left of playing. So it's not something that you're just buying him for supporting the captain. He has come back into the cricket with white ball. I think that has been a good. It's little probably RR paid little extra to buy him. That's my personal call. But still, I think going to Rajasthan is a good call because Rajasthan ground also at the home games also is going to be good with the kind of wind it flows across the Savai Stadium. I think that is going to be a good drifter for Ashwin playing those crucial games in the 7 games. And support to Sanju is going to be crucial. And we have Sangha sitting there and the guys sitting there who know exactly how to get Ashwin to do the talking.
Okay, coming to CSK and their strategy, Robin Uthappa for 2 crores and Bravo for 4.40 crores. Kushagra, what do you have to say about their strategy? They are particularly maybe looking to bring their old players back, or would they want to change this time?
I don't know. I think there is a loyalty clause in every CSK contract. I think that is there. So we saw that with Bravo. Then you've seen that with Uthappa, and of course Dhoni. I read this interesting tweet. Actually, this was a quick buzz update. I read, Dhoni 40, Bravo 38, Uthappa 36. CSK once again not following logic, but if logic was the king, then DC would have won all the titles. So coming back to what CSK do best, I think age is only a number on the paper or the birth certificate for them. I think they do reward this aspect because you say Dwayne Bravo still is a player that can still give you a couple of years. I think he's a little bit like Ibrahimovic in football. I think he's ageless. It doesn't matter how old he gets. He just keeps performing. He was good last year as well for the CSK. So why wouldn't they retain him? And as far as Uthappa is concerned, once again, I think Uthappa came in, played a few crucial knocks in crucial games last year, and that's what CSK are looking for. I remember this interview by Dhoni who said, I'm looking for like 3 or 4 games from a player. Crucial 3 or 4 performances from a player in a 14-match season. Now it will be a slightly longer season. That's regardless of that. Still, if you get like 4 or 5 really good games out of the 18 league games that you get, I think that's well worth their investment, and I don't think they spend too much either. I think they've got some money remaining, and they've retained good players. That's what I feel. With Moeen, Ruturaj, and of course Jaddu, we've got some really fantastic players.
Thank you. We have Nikhil, who is joining us from Barbados. Nikhil, what do you have to say about SRH? They haven't opened up yet. They haven't opened up the hammer yet, and I think their 68 crore is still lying there. The purse hasn't been opened yet. So, what is going to be their strategy? Why are they holding up?
I think it's quite surprising, to be honest. I saw a lot of memes and jokes early on about has the BCCI given them a paddle, because I was actually pretty surprised to see the amount of players both in the marquee setup and then in sets 2 and 3. And they just didn't really go after anyone. They had a small bit at Deepak Huda, But a lot of their past players, like a Jason Holder, came by, like a Jason Roy. It is, of course, a very deep auction. So I'm sure when the likes of a Johnny Bairstow, who did extremely well for them, come around, and even some West Indian talent as well, I'm sure we will see them a lot more active. But when I look at the three that they've retained in Williamson, Umar Malik, and Abdul Samad, obviously Kane Williamson is their leader and well proven. But I think injuries has plagued him a bit in the past. So I think they'll be a bit concerned with that, and they'll want to bring in some more experience because Malik and Samad are both young, exciting talents, but you need, and especially looking at what a Rajasthan was able to do, or you look at a Lucknow Super Giants, these teams are stacked already. And I mean, there's only a certain amount of that really high quality, proven IPL talent. So whilst I still think, of course, it's a really deep auction and they've got obviously a lot of money to spend, the most out of the franchises, I think they still want to make the most of these next few sets and see if they can snatch a couple of players at some bargains. But I think experience will be the key for them.
Great. Dhaval, who is also a very loyal MI fan and couch Pandit Sports. तो धवल मैं आपसे तो यही पूछना चाहूंगा, मुंबई इंडियंस अभी तक आई डोंट थिंक उन्होंने कोई प्लेयर खरीदा है, तो क्या रीजन हो सकता है इसके पीछे का?
I think some of the players that they wanted to go for have not shown up yet in the auction. Maybe they wanted to go for Dickov, but didn't really go for it because abhi release kar diya hai. They might go for Ishan Kishan, who is supposed to come up. They will also be looking to go for some fast bowling all-rounder. And as we know, the all-rounder set is still going on. So, and as Nikhil said earlier, I mean, everybody's been saying it. It's a deep auction, so people are going to take their time. I think we've known in the past that when Mumbai Indians goes for a player, sometimes they go for really obscure players, and they just turn out to be really good because they have a very deep scouting network. So maybe that's it. Maybe they want to depart from this proven IPL talents and experiment because they've got their core already. They've retained 4 of their players. So maybe they're taking their time. They have picked out the players that they want and they're going to go for that. Abhi tak shayad koi aaya nahi hai, but I would have liked to see them go for Dickov and also Jason Holder. Like somebody like Jason Holder would have been a great fit for Mumbai Indians, especially with Pollard already there.
A lot of expensive players have already been sold out, which means those teams who have bought those players, unke purse bahut kam reh gaye hain. Example, KKR. KKR is left with only 20.5 crores. So my next question would be to Anthony from East Sky Podcast, Australia. Anthony, with just 20 crores left in your purse, what would be your next move? You have a lot of spots to fill now.
I think their bowling is pretty set. They've got Cummins, they've got Nareen, they've got Dre Russ that can bowl a little bit. They might need to look back to India and get some top order batting to go along with Venkatesh Iyer and Shreyas Iyer. But I think that's a pretty strong side they've got already, the Knight Riders. They did maybe overperform last season. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with not too much to spend. They probably got Paddy Cummins a little bit cheap, a lot less than what he went for last year. And a lot going on in the press down here with the passing of Justin Langer as the Australian coach. Pat Cummins, a lot of noise around that. How will that affect him going into the IPL? It'll be interesting to see.
Great. Now, I'll share with you the purse which is left with each team. SRH, 68 crores. Mumbai Indians, 48 crores. Punjab is left with 54.50 crores. Gujarat is left with 43.75 crores. RCB, 39.25 crores. DC is left with 41.25 crores. We have a lot, I think. CSK is left with 41.60. Rajasthan is left with 32.75. KKR, yes, they have the least amount of money left, 20.50. And Lucknow is left with 33.15. My question to Sumed would be to the under 19, where in regards to the under 19 players, 10 of the under 19 players have been added to the squad now. Now we have 600 players under the hammer, 10 of them from the currently playing under 19. So, whom do you think will be the hottest buy of this auction?
That's a tough one, and I think if you look at the purses right now that are left, right, you a lot of teams are floating in that 40 to 30, 35 sort of a category. And you don't really have sides that are complete. So I definitely think the under 19 players will be picked up for a little bit of appreciation value, not too much. The investment I don't think will be random and obscene. I really don't think so. But I'll tell you the players that I think could prove to be interesting for the IPL. I like Raj Bawa a lot. He bats at 4. Left-handed bloke, strikes at 150 plus, bowls 145. I don't know where these hybrid players come from. They are incredible. Hunger Gaker is another one, but I think the one that DC will be looking at is Yash Dhul for sure. Skipper comes from Delhi, local boy, one for the future. So I think those are some interesting names from the under 19 setup for sure that I'll be looking out for.
Wonderful. And now I'll be looking out for some crazy answers from all you guys. So right now I have a rapid fire question answer session with all you guys. So we'll start with Sid, and I'll ask 5 questions each, and you have to just answer what's on top of your mind when you listen to the question. That's it. No thinking. Okay, so Sid, you ready?
Yes, I'm already on the edge of my chair. Bring it on.
Perfect. Question number 1. Who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
Who will be? I'm still going for Deepak Chahar. He's going to cross shares here.
Great. Who will be DC's first buy in the second session?
I hope it's Deepak Chahar.
Deepak Chahar. All right. Third, who will be the most expensive player in the second session?
Most expensive pair, I think Lord Shardul can break a lot of things.
Wait,
okay. He's trained by Dhoni, so you know what he can bring to the
table. True.
Very interesting shout.
Backup opener.
Honestly speaking, let's get Dhul back and let him play at top.
Great. And one backup keeper. I think we lost him. All right. Well done. Well done. It was a good session with Sid. Moving on to Kushagar. The same questions. Number 1. Kushag, you ready?
Yeah.
Did you get my answer?
No. You can repeat
back.
My last answer was get Dhul and make him play at the top.
Okay, great. My last question was one backup keeper.
Backup keeper, let's go for Ishan. I think they will make amazing, crazy pack with Pant.
Super. All right. Questions would remain the same. I'll move on to Kushag. Kushag, you ready?
Yes, ready.
All right. Question number 1. Who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
Shardul Thakur.
Okay. Second, who will be DC's first buy in the second session?
I would like to concur with Sid. If it is Deepak Chahar, it will be fantastic because he let go of Toynes. But I wouldn't mind Lord either. So either of the two.
Okay. Who will be the most expensive player in the second session?
I think that goes for the same as I think Shardul crosses Shreyas Iyer. So I think one of the two all rounders. Hasaranga might surprise us.
Yes, Hasaranga has already crossed 10, so if he might go to 11, 12. Who knows? One backup opener for Delhi.
I don't know. He is not exactly an opener. He plays number 3 for the under 19 team, but I love Sheikh Rashid. I think he's a superstar in the making, and if Delhi could
Unfortunately, he's
get
not
their hands
eligible,
on-
I think. He's not eligible to play because he's 17 and
He's
he hasn't
because he's
played.
17, right? He's
Yeah, and he
17,
hasn't.
right? All right,
Yeah.
then in that case, I guess yes, Joel.
Great. And one
That's a
backup
shame. That's
keeper.
a shame.
One backup keeper.
Backup keeper. I would love it if we could get Ishan Kishan, but I don't think Mumbai will give us Ishan Kishan. So I don't. It's a tough toss up. It's a tough toss up because how do you convince a keeper to you don't want to spend too much on a keeper because anyway you're going to play punt. He's going to be a skipper of a team. So maybe get Regiman Saha on the cheap or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Nikhil. Nikhil, you ready?
Yeah, man. Always ready.
Okay. Question number one.
Beautiful.
Who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
I'm gonna go with Wanendo Hasaranga. I think he's shown enough last season in the small times that we've seen him, the World Cup, and then I think based on how the teams have gone for him so far, I'm excited to see how much he goes for.
Hasaranga. Perfect. Who will be the DC's first buy in second session?
I promise you that their first buy, who will be their first buy? Well, I see that Odin Smith is coming up. He's going to be my answer for a couple of these. I think he can be a big option for DC. I'm going to go with Odin Smith.
Odin Smith, yes. A lot of expectations from Odin Smith, especially his last two performances. Amazing. Who will be the most expensive player in the second session?
I'm also going to go with Odin Smith for this one because I think, given the hype that's been around him, obviously, as you just said, the India series, and I think a lot of teams prioritize that finishing. And we saw Hetmeyer, how much he went for. I think Odin Smith has shown already in the CPL and international cricket in a short time that he can do the same. So I'm going to go with him.
Great. And great muscle power as well, the way he hits. Amazing. And one backup opener for Delhi.
I think it's really tough. I personally would love to see a Evan Lewis there, but I think in terms of maybe backup, you probably will more likely see an Indian option. So yeah, I guess I can go for maybe a Krishnappa Gautam. Maybe can come in and be a sort of a spin, but also a top order batsman for DC. Just a wild card I'm throwing out there.
Wonderful. And last, one backup keeper for Delhi.
Yeah, I like KS Bharat. Definitely, I like Bharat. I think from RCB last year, he could be an excellent option to even bat at 3 or 4 for DC and sort of fill the top order for them with Pant and obviously Warner and Shaw.
Super. Thank you. Moving on to Anthony. You ready, Anthony?
I'm ready, mate.
Okay. Question number one. Who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
I want to go with Shreyas Iyer. I don't think anyone's going to overtake him. He's already got 1.25. We will see Hasaranga go very close. We saw the bidding pushing 1 crore there. I think Shreyas is going to hang on. I think he'll be the most expensive.
Wonderful. Who will be DC's first buy in the next session?
I think they need another fast bowler to go along with Anrik Nortje. I want to go with Mark Wood. We saw him bowl express down here in the Ashes. I think he's going to be a really good addition to whoever picks him up. And I think Delhi might have their eyes on the Englishman. He pushes 150 regularly, and I think that they want it quick. So I'll go with Mark Wood.
Wonderful. Who will be the most expensive player in the second session?
I'm going to reiterate what a few of the boys have said. The Lord, Shardul Thakur, he can do it with the bat. He can do it with the ball. He's an internet sensation. We're seeing memes down here about the prowess of the Lord. So I'll go with Shardul Thakur.
Great. One backup opener for Delhi.
Perhaps more my own preference rather than what actually eventuate. We saw Ben McDermott have a really good Big Bash down here. He's an up-and-coming guy out of Australia, plays for Hobart Hurricanes in the Big Bash. It'd be interesting to see if he does get picked up at all, but I think he's deserved an IPL contract, and I'd love to see the Capital pick up Ben McDermott.
And one backup keeper for Delhi.
Yeah, let's keep the Australian theme going. Again, it's probably going to be an Indian, but who cares? Let's go with Josh Inglis. He's been really good again in the Big Bash League. He's in the Australian Test squad that will go to Pakistan. So let's go with Josh Inglis as a backup keeper.
Wonderful. Now we have Mr. Dhaval with us. Dhaval, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Question are the same. Question number one: who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
I think I want to agree with Anthony here. I think Shreyas Iyer is going to be the most expensive one. I was expecting the prices to be a lot higher for everyone, but the trend seems to be not to follow the overhyped prices that we've seen in the past. So 12.25 for Shreyas has been the highest, and I think he'll retain that.
Super. Who will be DC's first buy in second session?
DC's first buy in the second session, I would say to go for Chahar or maybe Yuzvendra Chahal also, because they would like a leg spinner.
Great, great. Who will be the most expensive player in second session?
It's a toss-up between Thakur, Chahar, Deepak Chahar. I would say Deepak Chahar because he's got slightly better first-class numbers and domestic numbers. So I would say Deepak Chahar.
Deepak Chahar. All right. And one backup opener and a backup keeper for Delhi.
I think both of those could be a role filled by maybe someone like Mohammad Azharuddin as an outside shot. He's good. He's a good keeper. He can bat up top. And that's both of those.
Wonderful.
Could be.
Thank you. And last, but not the least, Sumit. Sumit, you ready?
Thank God for that. Yeah, sure. I am.
Number one, who will be the most expensive player in this auction?
I kind of agree with the boys. It could be Shreyas, but I think Ishan just might tip him by 1 crore or 2. Somebody like a Hyderabad who's not spent anything might have said, listen, we're going for Ishan, and might be a war between Mumbai and Hyderabad perhaps. So maybe Ishan, maybe.
Great, great. Who will be DC's first buy in the next session?
I know for sure that the Indian fast bowlers lot is coming. So Avesh Khan, I think, is somebody that the owners are going to wash their hands and go after, in all honesty, because you got to get him back for sure.
Sure. And who will be our most expensive player in the second session?
In the second session, yeah, probably Ishan, like I said from earlier. Maybe he might tip Shreyas.
One backup opener and a backup keeper for Delhi.
I've got one name for both. And he's somebody who's fundamentally different from Warner and Shaw, and that's Shea Hope. I really like the guy. He's a good mix of Caribbean and English talent. So he's that good amalgamation, got crazy good ODI numbers, and he can keep. You need somebody who can keep as opposed to who is a keeper as your backup option, so that the player's happy. So yeah, I think Shea Hope for both.
Wonderful. So it was an amazing session with our panelists. We had Sid, Kushagra, Nikhil, Anthony, Dhaval, and Sumit. It was amazing talking to you, and really enlightened with your views about what has happened till now, and wish you all the best for the remaining 3 sessions. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, fellas.